Okay, let's actually talk about the tea on the Teacast instead of just, idly drinking it while talking about it. Yeah,
I'm
like
not
that.
used to doing it like that.
That's how you talk off of recording.
Alright, so today we're gonna do things a little bit differently. Instead of trying one of my usual teas, we're trying a buttload of samples, or at least as many as we can get through today.
So last week we were talking about doing how we were going to do this. I thought we were going to test out our new teas that we're going to have for sale. But no, you're talking about potential teas.
Yes.
Yeah, so
okay. That's a lot more exciting for me then.
Just to be clear, this episode of this 10th episode of the podcast, we will still be talking about some shows and things, but we're going to be sampling out several different teas that we're not sure if they're going to make it into the storefront necessarily, but we're going to sort of demonstrate our process.
Mm-hmm. So, John, you were saying before we began recording this...
I don't know.
You were saying that it was a bit... okay, so this is a plain green tea.
Mm-hmm.
An unflavored green tea.
And we're not going to talk about the names just yet. We're going to keep that as a nice little mystery.
Also because we like to name our things based on things.
Virtue, flavor, character, persona, other words.
Stands.
So, yeah, as I hold the cup up, I mean, it's a really nice golden color. It's sort of, the green teas can get much darker and much more green. And yellow teas, for example, are just like, this is about...
The legendary yellow teas that most people have never heard of.
Look it up.
Yeah.
This is sort of like right middle of the pack. I mean, if I wanted to use like lowbrow terminology, it's almost like apple juice in color. But as I smell it, I was expecting kind of like a Pilo Chun, like a sort of a leafy smell, either be it grass or asparagus or seaweed.
Ew.
You know, one of those smells.
Asparagus.
Yeah, asparagus. It's good.
Asparagus tea is probably the worst idea ever.
Oh no!
After pickle tea, which someone suggested at the Midwest Tea Fest.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my
to
god!
To cleanse the palate is the idea.
Which is
what?
Not the opposite of what it would do.
On one hand, I like to listen to my fans and my customers. On the other hand, I'm going to leave it to my tea expertise and say pickle tea will not be a thing.
Well, there's listening to feedback, and then there's ignoring bad feedback.
But anyway, so as I went to sip it, the smell came off as surprisingly fruity, and I was not expecting that.
Yeah, your senses are much more sensitive, I guess, than mine, because I can't smell that at all, except straight from the leaves.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the leaves come out really floral. So I actually, after smelling this, I'm like, is it just something that's around right now that I'm picking up? The leaves that we use to brew
it's
are
the
sitting
flowers in my room where we record.
Yeah, right. Well, it could be, fruit downstairs or something else. I don't know. But, the leaves themselves, like we're using our Ingenuity, so it's covered. I lifted up the top and gave that a smell, and that was much more what I was expecting.
Yeah, we're brewing using the Ingenuity today, which is why I slightly overbrewed it, because it's not in a removable infuser. Would someone care to explain the Ingenuity?
The Ingenuity is a very ingenuitive product. Huh?
Yeah, good.
Huh?
Okay, I like it.
So in essence, what it is a really, really easy to use, easy to clean, big tea strainer.
It's terrific.
So
no,
what,
2 out of 5.
1 out of 5 just because it's a pun. So what it is what's a good way of... Think of it as like a really big cup which you can put the tea leaves in, and then if you put that on top of another cup, the water drains straight out while keeping the tea leaves right where they are.
It uses the power of gravity.
Yes.
There's a little mechanism underneath it, so it has 4 little
little drainers,
stands, I guess, little feet that it rests
feet.
on. And then inside of that, there's a mechanism that if you were to rest it on top of the cup, it pushes up the bottom, which allows the tea to drain out. So, you could rest it on the table and it's not going to spill. And the strainer's on the bottom of the cup, of the Ingenuity. And then when you rest it on top of a cup, that pushes up the bottom, pulls the water down, and then the leaves just sort of get, they rest on top of the filter as it drains.
And the most amazing thing about this is that it doesn't drip at all, ever.
Yeah. We demonstrated this at the Midwest Tea Fest, and as I was pouring the scalding hot water, like I was just holding the Ingenuity, and I had the electric tea kettle that we were using, and I very confidently poured it into the Ingenuity, which was right over, my foot, and I'm just like, oh, look at that, I'm that confident. And I said out loud, like in the spur of the moment, like, and notice how I confidently pour this right over my foot, and it was fine. I was not scalded at all. It doesn't drip, unless you want it to, unless you put it on the cup.
Well, I meant, like, even afterwards, like after you pour it into the cup or let it drain into the cup, whatever you want to say, there's no, like, after drips. Usually when you're removing an infuser, it's like, it's dripping for, like, 5 seconds.
Yes.
Not a drop.
It's a fantastic product. And the Ingenuity, whatever the main company is that makes them, they do a lot of good for tea shops. Someday we hope to get one with our logo on it. They do that all the time. Like they did it for Teavana. If you've ever been into Teavana, those clear things that they pretty much demonstrate, not the glass teapots. Besides those, the clear things that they're always demonstrating, that's the Ingenuity.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, back at the tea.
So there's also a slightly smoky hint as you drink it. Makes me think a little bit of like a baby gunpowder.
Yeah.
Which our gunpowder is Space Cowboy. That I can't even remember his name. The guy who went bang.
Spike?
Spike, there we go. Did he have any type of apprentice or like lesser version of him?
Not in the show, no.
Not in the show? Is there any
he was an
anime
apprentice.
Huh?
He was an apprentice for a time.
Is there any anime that feels like a lesser Cowboy Bebop?
Well, when we say Space Cowboy, I always think of Vash the Stampede.
He's like an actual cowboy, but it's not as much in space as Cowboy Bebop is.
He's on a different planet, and he spends half his time in all of his flashbacks are in a space colony. Yeah. And it's there that
but it's more of a Wild West setting and less of a space setting. Cowboy Bebop is more balanced.
He's a bounty hunter.
Yeah, he's a bounty hunter, and he goes in like the sleazy bars, but they spend way more time in space and.
But anyway, what I was going to say about the actual space cowboy that is actually.
Actually,
the space cowboy that is Vash the Stampede, he has, what was his, Wolfwood, he was kind of like a lesser space cowboy figure, but I don't think that this is really fitting for Wolfwood. He smokes a lot. It would have to be, it would be like a Lapsang Souchong.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Let's see. Is there any type of character that's just kind of bad at using guns?
Lots.
All the ones that don't use them.
I mean, the one that uses it but is just bad at it.
That sounds
no,
like...
not really.
No?
Yeah. Not that I can think of anyway. In Outlaw Star, it's kind of like the same setting where it's like half space, half Western, but instead of guns, it's like they have like magic cartridges where it fires a spell or something like that. And so it's kind of like a lesser version of that, but the people are still competent.
But anyway, I think it's a bit of a stretch anyways, because it's like, well, this is a lesser space cowboy. Sure, but I mean, looking at the qualities of the tea itself, like the smokiness is really far out there. So like maybe someone that had a smoker in their family, but you know that's not really something that like Space Cowboy. I get the smokiness right away, and you know it's gunpowder tea. It's like perfect.
Also, but this one, I did overbrew this a little bit, so
yeah. So even at its boldest, it's just lightly there. It's a pretty subtle tea. You know, it rings more like a scholar than it does a cowboy.
Yeah.
A scholar that maybe slightly kicks butt?
I don't know. You have to see how many infusions we get out of this, too, eventually. Mm-hmm. Speaking thereof, we should get some water ready.
Should we do a flash forward into the future right about now, into our next tea?
I don't know.
Flash forward.
All right. Just me?
Yes.
I'm the only one with the power?
What a loser.
I'm already in the future.
Did you hear that?
No, you're not. You're still in the present, which is rapidly becoming the past.
Welcome to my timeline, boys and girls, and everything beyond and in between. Wow, what is this?
This is a tea.
It is a tea.
So it's a green tea, and it's a bit on the spicy side.
No kidding. I haven't even sipped it yet, but man, that's really spicy. It's like
memes. Not hot spicy. It's not chili pepper green.
Yeah, it's like almost like a chai.
It's like if you put the latest memes in a tea. This would be it. Because it's spicy.
Stop that. That's a different kind of spicy. You're confusing the people. It's like Christmas spice.
Yeah, oh man.
It's like if that boy was a tea.
This is
that boy.
This is kind of similar in flavor to Christmas in a Cup, except it's really light on the end. Like that's wonderful.
It's smooth.
We'll call this "It's not Christmas yet. Stop putting up decorations."
Black Friday. That would work well if it was a black tea.
Green Friday.
Green Christmas.
Hey, Green Christmas.
Man,
I like that.
I'm dreaming of a green Christmas.
That would be good. Now let's figure out how to work anime in somehow.
Anime Santa.
All right, so it's what was the butler? The butler.
I was thinking about that too. You don't get Christmas because you're poor.
What's in here? Like what are the spices here?
Nick.
I think it's over there.
Make me reach for stuff. No.
Yes, that was it.
I like this a lot.
No, you're right. I put it in.
I'm kind of a purist too. I like
in the used pile.
How dare you?
Green tea, orange peels, natural spice flavor. There you go. Natural spice flavor. Cinnamon bark, ginger root.
Yeah, so that's a lot of that is pretty similar to Christmas in a Cup.
I would suspect that natural spice flavor is like cloves and stuff.
Yeah.
Spice powder.
Yeah, okay, so just throwing out some ideas, like as I'm drinking this, because the Christmas in a Cup does have that sort of like roasted feel, especially to the aftertaste.
Yeah.
This is lacking it, so it's sort of like a Christmas in the Caribbeans. Having celebrated one of my Christmases in Hawaii, it's a lot like this. It's all the good things of Christmas without that like little extra bitterness of the cold.
Without the bite.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's like usually when you have a green tea that has like a really what is supposed to be a really strong flavor, and you make it okay. Like let's say you have like a chocolate tea. That never works well with green tea. It feels watered down. Mm-hmm. So this is like surprisingly good.
And I was trying to place early on because the spices. I mean, like, oh man, they smell wonderful. And there's just that sort of elusive green tea character that's coming out, and I'll characterize that in a minute. But there's
wait. You know what I just thought? since we keep talking about the Christmas thing and how spicy this is, we can call this Elf on the Shelf.
Oh, Jesus.
No, stop.
It's green.
No.
And
I don't understand that, and you've tried to explain it to me, and I still don't understand it, so I'm gonna assume that it's something dumb that only, 12-year-olds understand.
Hey, Nick.
No.
Vegeta and a cheetah.
That boy on Illinois.
That rhymes.
Woo!
Okay, I get it, but, whatever.
It watches you while you sin. Anyways, what I was going to say was, I'm really glad you said the orange peel, because I was trying to figure out this bright first note, just after you take your sip. It really sets up the spices super well.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I it's a supporting character, so I would not have been able to place it probably unless you had said it was the orange peel. It just, it's right there at the beginning.
And notes, I still have a cat's tongue. I have yet to even drink this.
Seriously? It's not hot.
It's not hot.
It's not hot.
We're gonna have to give you less next time, so it'll cool down faster.
No, I drank it.
He got all angry because he thinks he got less.
Delicious. I did get less, you bastard!
No,
you bought half a cup for you.
No, I just got more.
That's why I call you Stalin.
Everyone's equal, just some are more equal than others.
Bueno. Spill some on me? Yeah.
Okay, so, we're
nice.
putting character on the shelf for just a moment. The Christmas character on the shelf. What kind of character does this sort of take? I mean, it's quirky, that's for sure. I don't think I've had anything.
I wouldn't call it quirky.
I would, because I've had this sort of flavor in black tea. I've never had anything like it green.
Yeah, but
it's bubbly. It's buoyant.
When I think quirky, I think of the white tea black tea mixture.
Yeah, but in
with,
terms of
some weird flavor,
that's conceptually quirky.
Yeah,
this is quirky in action. I've had this in a couple different forms, but this is buoyant. It's almost playful.
And not really expectant. Maybe we can, since you said quirky, play with My Hero Academia and Midoriya's getting his quirk, because it doesn't really fit him, but he still has it.
No, because this fits.
Things.
All these flavors fit.
But you don't expect
quirkiness,
it to.
I like.
We'll put that elf on the shelf too.
You'll put.
See, now you're doing it.
Yeah, but I'm doing it ironically, which makes it okay. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Ooh, it's the spices give it kind of an edge. But it's like a vanilla edge.
Too edgy for me.
It's an edge that it works, but you wouldn't expect it to be there. I'm trying to think.
We should call it Spencer's Gifts.
Spencer's Gifts.
Yeah.
Green Tea the Hedgehog. For those who are not aware, there's like a meme within a meme about kids who are constantly making blank the hedgehog, and they're always trying to make it
just
edgy, and it's
just type in your name the hedgehog and see what fan art you get. Don't do it in a public space though.
Yeah, not at work. It is not safe.
It might not be. There's a good chance.
Or you can just type in funny little words like edgy the hedgehog. I'm gonna do that now. Let's see if anything comes up. Edgy the hedgy, edgy the edgeog.
Ow, the edge. Anyway, I guess we're going to flash forward into the future again.
Right? I want to figure something more out for this tea, because this is one that I think it offers something that we don't have, and it's offering something that I've never come across something like this before. And there's such a hidden character in this tea, and it's bugging me that I don't. There's something just on the edge of what I'm able to conceptualize right now. you know, it's this sort of bubbly, eccentric character that, you know, either is forcing him or herself to be edgy, or, you know, just has this sort of bite to it. I'm trying to think of characters in My Hero, but I mean, I should look outside. I mean, what does that spark any characters that you know of?
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Not Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, but I like there's archetypes, but I can't think of any particular ones. It's like I know that there's a ton of them out there, but I can't think of it.
Man, this is gonna bug me. This is really, really good. I like this one a lot.
Now, do you see what we have to suffer with when we do this?
Order of the Phoenix.
Order of the Phoenix? Like
when Harry got emo.
Yeah.
He was a teenager. He was going through rough times.
Yeah.
He began growing breasts, and he began...
I think that's not what was actually in the book. You might have...
You can infer it from the way he was talking.
No.
Yeah?
No.
And that's how... I can't even finish that. Thank you for the fast forward, John.
No problem. All right, wow. So this is entirely different than the last tea. This one, just by smell, is super smooth.
Smooth.
Yeah, very, very smooth black tea coming up.
Smooth.
What? Am I not smooth enough?
Just both of you are just responding to each other. Smooth.
Smooth.
Ooh, that's hot.
Smooth.
You.
One of us is smoother than the other.
Hey.
It's John.
Which one of us has a girlfriend? Which one of us has a girlfriend?
None of us?
Oh, yeah.
But your waifu's trash.
Which one?
Yeah.
I'm a waifu polygamist.
And they're all trash.
I don't have a waifu.
Yeah, so it's coming
Help
up.
us find Nick a waifu.
So I just said it smelled smooth. Really strong scent of caramel.
Caramel.
So I'm not even looking at the tea's names before I describe this, so it has caramel in it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What are the ingredients again?
The ingredients are... What was that?
It was me getting an email. Cool your jets.
No. Black tea, natural caramel flavored, cocoa nibs, natural vanilla flavored, and natural chocolate flavored.
Sounds good. Let's pour it.
Is it done?
Slowly.
Yes, it's done.
Gently. Huh?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
We're all getting equal amounts this time.
Yeah.
Does that make you happy?
Actually, it does. You
It's gonna
thief.
take him forever to cool down.
Ow. I got some hot tea on me.
Ha!
That's good.
Oh, look at that. There's still more left. It's almost as if I knew the right amount the entire time.
You still poured yourself more than everybody else. I'm the guy with the big mouth. I deserve more. Did you really finish? What are you doing? Grab it. That was not a smart move. So I was holding the teacup with like my little fingers, and Nick just left the infuser on top with me hanging on for dear life on top of my leg.
That's what you get for whining.
I'm not
That's
a whiner.
Now
you are.
whiner.
Jeez. If you are one thing.
I don't whine. I tea.
That's not a pun. You tear.
I don't even know what you were going for.
He tears up.
That was a pun.
See, but I don't know what you're doing. I tea.
You're both fired.
All right, so the colors
This is
certainly richer.
yeah. It's definitely got the karma color.
Mm-hmm.
Though that's not an ingredient.
Okay. Yeah, very, very karma coloring. Yeah, it doesn't need it. Yeah. So wow,
Nice
very,
smell.
very, very smooth. As a matter of fact,
Yeah, it smells like good stuff.
yeah.
It's
This would actually be okay with a little bit of sugar even, but I would say this is smoother than Tuxedo Mask.
This is as smooth as the other side of a jazz pillow.
Huh.
What's a jazz pillow?
Someone as not smooth as you would never understand. Smooth. So while you two are sipping away, I'm gonna wait for this thing to cool.
Yeah, so, this has got some character. It's really, really smooth, but, I'm picking up, some complexities, especially in, like, the mouthfeel. Yeah, and, does it say what kind of black tea this is? It's a very, very, very earthy black tea.
Let's see if I can find out from my distributor.
So I'm thinking, my initial impulse is Dutch. Dutch from the Pirates, Black Lagoon. Yeah. Just very, very, very smooth. Dutch's caramel.
Yes.
Yeah. Like and looking at it too, like the color's deep. It kind of looks like a rum.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So I mean, it would be something that you could drink as you cosplay Dutch, and be able to still stay at the convention.
Because nobody sneaks anything in conventions.
Let me see. The louder they sneak in, the louder they're asked to leave. But yeah, I mean, like if you want to sneak rum in as Dutch and drink it, and
this is a tea I would have while having dessert.
Yeah.
Like having some cakes. Yeah, it is the tea I would have.
Well, with cakes, it would subdue the flavor too much if you didn't add sugar to it. Like it's really smooth.
I usually don't add anything, but a little bit of sugar to this.
If it was like a really like a shortbread, then yeah, this would be a really nice like shortbread and tea type of
tea and biscuits
dessert. Yeah, nice midday tea.
A tea you bring to your grandma.
Actually, this now that you say this does remind me. I had a tea party with my grandma once, and I made her kind of a it was like a cream vanilla black tea, and it went over really well. You had a tea party with your
grandma?
Yeah,
Were
years
you
ago.
5 years old?
No, I was like 20. I didn't like tea when I was 5.
Would you like more cream, Grandma? I wish I had a different grandson. Please let me go back to the old folks' home.
And this tea needs more vanilla.
No, Grandma, you're staying here with me. Now drink your tea. Still too hot.
Really?
Have we met?
Blow on it or something.
I'll blow on... Okay, I'll blow on the tea.
You're popular.
I'm blowing. Are you happy?
Getting emails and texts left and right over there.
Yeah, Nick. This is a professional setting in a professional studio.
Why aren't you drinking your tea?
Because it's still too hot.
No, it isn't. Drink it.
No, I can tell it's too hot.
He's all done, and
what the hell was that?
I forgot that you can't drink and talk at the same time.
I thought you just went for like a Dutch shot and, just like burped or something.
You were trying to talk while you had...
It was a second away from a spit take. Anyway, I'm done.
Speaking of professionalism...
So you took a sip-ish.
Mm-hmm. And I determined it was hot. We can move on to non-tea things, and then eventually I can get back to it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. All right.
By the way, we'll do one more tea after this, maybe? Or is this it?
Let's keep it to 3 for now, I guess.
All right, so moving on.
That email I got was a Humble Bundle email.
Ooh.
And it's kind of interesting because they usually do, like a bunch of games, and they're usually kind of indie games. This time it's
very positive.
Yes, it's called Very Positive. None of these games are positive. They're all about death and stuff.
Yay!
It's mostly a bunch of indie games that I've never heard of, like it usually is. But the highest tier is pay $80 or more, and you get a Shadow of War pre-order and a shirt, which is interesting. I'm considering getting this. And then all the others are there's a couple games that I've heard of that sound interesting, like Death Road to Canada and Beat Cop, which is about being a corrupt cop, and the first Shadow of Mordor, Game of the Year edition. Anyway,
speaking of games, so a lot of people had a lot of fun playing the Dragon Ball FighterZ beta.
Yeah, not us.
Not us. Why is that, Nick?
Because we didn't make the random selection.
Because you weren't good enough. But yeah, we did not make the random selection, so that makes me sad. Though a lot of people did, and a lot of fun little things were found out. So,
I haven't watched any footage, by the way, but you did. I saw you doing that when you were having conversations with us. But anyway.
So one of the interesting things is now this happened for the second time on screen. Gohan's Kamehameha, I don't know if it's just Gohan or anyone, but his Kamehameha can clash with somebody else's Kamehameha. So you can have a beam struggle that way. And as of now, Gohan is the only one that's got a level 5 super. And if you turn his level 3 into a level 5, he overpowers his opponents and it hits him.
Awesome.
So it's got that fun stuff going.
What do you mean by level 5? Like you have 5 meters, or
5
it's
meters.
A move that can only be done at that, or what?
If you have 5 meters, you can do it.
Okay.
Let's see. What other fun little things? So one of the big complaints people had was that, so there's a button which if you press, you dash straight to your opponent. And people felt like that was going to be just really easily abused. It was just going to be a dash fight and not very fun. But as people have found out, you can't just use that willy-nilly. There's lots of different ways to just punish your opponent for doing that. I saw, who was a popular YouTuber, Romstyle, who, of course, got into the beta, and he kept getting punished over and over again by Trunks, who his, downward medium hit knocks the opponent into the air, and that just kept happening over and over and over again. He wasn't learning. You just knock him into the air and just combo, and yeah. The craziest thing I saw was, I'm not sure if this was planned or if this was in the middle of a fight, but there was about 1, 2, 3, at least 5 different supers going off at once.
Oh.
With all of the assists and whatnot.
Yeah, I saw you watch that clip. I was like, how is this even a thing?
It was madness.
It was. It was like Smash Brothers level of chaos.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. And we also have some new information, which makes me... Actually, really all 3 pieces make me upset. So, 3 new characters. Number 1, we got Yamcha, which, again...
Wait, seriously?
Yeah. Yamcha
as a playable character?
As a playable character.
Wow.
Yeah.
Handicap.
So that makes me, kind of upset.
I said it before.
Yeah.
That's a waste of a space. Well, I guess we'll see what they can pull with that. We have Tien, which I'm happy that we have Tien.
I did see that, but then I overlooked that because I could not believe it.
We got Tien, but they're using his Dragon Ball Super uniform, which has got everybody upset. Cause we wanted Dragon Ball Z one, like when he was in the Cell Saga, when he had like those giant cancer shoulders.
Cancer shoulders.
His shoulders were like twice the size of his head, and everyone loved it.
Well, I guess pay for it later.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know, because with the way Arc System Works does characters, making a whole new design. They have to like build a new character because of the way everything flows. So I don't even know if that's gonna be possible to do.
Well,
different skins.
fighting games lately have had like skin DLC. Usually, it's just like what you get is a palette swap, and then like Street Fighter V and Mortal Kombat and what's the other one? Killer Instinct. They all have like really intricate extra skins.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully. And then the third character, which took everyone by surprise, and a lot of people not in a good way, is a brand new original character for the game. Android 21.
So, it's confirmed that these are all playable characters and not just part of the story, right?
Correct.
Ugh.
And they have like...
What a waste.
Yeah.
Tien's okay. The others, no. Why?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Yamcha hasn't even had, like, a fighting role in Super at all.
He hasn't had a fighting role, not even in Z. He died to a Cyberman, that was his thing.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's all he's done. Oh, and he also got a hand shoved right through him in the Android saga.
I was gonna say, I thought he died twice.
Yeah. His job is to die.
Yeah, that's true, but I'm sure he did a little bit of fighting.
Nope.
I mean, not enough to be worth it, but...
He got beat up by Cell Juniors.
So did everybody.
So, yeah, not much going on with that. So at least she's designed by Kira Toriyama, but I just don't like the design.
I don't either.
It looks like a bad fanfiction.
It does.
She's gonna fit into the main story mode somehow. She was described as having the brains of Dr. Giro himself. Not like literal, but like that level of intelligence.
That's good.
She's busty. So,
that's good.
Yay, boobs. Yeah. There she is.
Yeah, boobs and brains equals
boobs
BB.
And brains. Uh-huh. She has glasses, so if anyone's got that fetish, that's covered.
You know what?
She's like a fanfiction.
She looks like they wanted to put Bulma in the game, but couldn't because she has to actually be able to fight.
Well, I'm gonna reserve judgment until later.
Oh, you ready? You ready to drink the tea?
Yeah, it's good tea.
That's good. That's nice.
So good news, everybody out there that's been waiting. This tea is also good iced.
Yeah, it's still warm. Still plenty hot.
Pretty good.
What tea? What year is it?
Going back a little bit, Tien, he's going to use Chaozu as assist. Kind of like
not at all surprised by that.
Like Android 17, 18.
That's
the
right thing
that's
to do.
great. That's a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of need it to bolster him up a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see.
But I'm surprised that they're sticking more with Z instead of going forward into Super. That's what it seems like.
That's probably going to be like the last stuff they reveal.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to be expecting Z, and everyone's like still playing the game of, oh, I don't know if any Super's going to be in there. I don't know.
Well, we already know that Blue is in.
I know, but people gotta stop asking that. Of course, it's going to be in there.
Of course.
So I suggest that they're going to do something crazy, like they have the Goku and Vegeta of this world, which are the first Goku and Vegeta talked about, and then they use like the time machine to bring back Super, and that's how the Super will get bled in. Like it could be a storytelling thing.
Well, Future Trunks is totally in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can have Future Trunks.
He's been confirmed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, then Time Machine confirmed, pretty much.
So I mean, that's just one of the things that they could do, and there's
that would be
multiple different things they could do with it.
Which means you could probably get like Goku Black or something.
We also don't need to assume that every character in the game is going to be in the story mode.
Mm-hmm. So there's lots of things.
Well,
that they can do with
I mean, it's kind of implied.
Not necessarily.
Usually in fighting games, story mode works one of two ways. Either you start the story and it's completely linear, and it works like, you start the game and, okay, now you're playing as Goku, and Goku's doing a thing, and then, okay, now you have to fight a guy. and then he fights and stuff happens, and then okay, now cut to other character, like cut to Vegeta, and then Vegeta has to fight. And then you play through every character, and so you kind of learn how to play as every character through the story mode, or every character has their own arc, and you choose at the beginning who you want to play as, and you play as that character through their entire arc. So I doubt that they would have a story mode where someone's left out, unless it's like you could choose to just not play that character's story mode. But it doesn't sound like that they're gonna go with the. It sounds like it's gonna be the first thing where it's you switch between characters.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna have to have time travel if Frieza and Majin Buu are in it.
And if the new android character is as smart as Dr. Gero, it's possible that she figured out some sort of way to, finagle timelines, and sort of meander through them.
It seems like there might be some sort of shenanigans going on.
That would, by the way, personally, if we're gonna mess with timelines and assume that the villain is doing it, I would love it if she, you go through the story and she's just like, all right, these guys are just too crazy. They've powered up too much as a result of our fighting. I'm going to go to a different timeline, and that's how she encounters Blue, Goku, and Vegeta. Just like,
Or she could be a boss character, which is usually how you
that's what I assume
unlock
she's going to be.
the last. You never play as them. You unlock them by beating the story mode.
So
we'll see. What other fun things that people discover while playing? Just things like new combos, but nothing too like. They also, we know about 2 upcoming stages: Supreme Kai Planet, and what looks like is just them on a meteor, because they're out in space and fighting on a meteor, and that's pretty much it. My guess is they need to have fighting in space, but since they need stuff like ground and whatnot, they can't just have them floating. So.
Well, they could, but they don't want to.
But then certain things like Android 16's Hell Flash, where he shoots into the ground and blows up. That's not gonna do too much.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah. And Krillin's throwing rocks wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Just hitting nothing. Yeah, you're right. I saw some. This was before the beta, but must have been at Evo. People were getting some cool scene transitions. So I'm excited to see if people some of them you have to be really specific. You need to bounce someone off a wall and then do a super into them. And then they do the
Mortal
really what do you call it, iconic go into the distance and break through a mountain, and then you're in another level.
Yes.
So I hope there's a lot of more stuff like that gets discovered. It sounds like there's a lot of not quite secrets, but cool little things to be discovered.
They talk about having unique dialogue when certain characters fight. So
yeah,
it's probably just stuff not
that makes
implemented
sense.
yet.
When 18 and Krillin fight, their little girl is just crying in the background.
No, they're fighting for custody.
17 when he comes in, finally. Yeah, but speaking of questionable character concepts and designs, how about Powerpuff Girls?
This is where I push my mic away because I have no opinion on this whatsoever.
Well, Buttercup finally has fingers. That was something.
Was that Buttercup or was that the new one?
I thought that was Buttercup.
I don't know. So, long story short, the new Powerpuff Girls is just awful. And so they're trying to boost ratings by introducing a 4th Powerpuff Girl. Like a permanent one. Which you don't mess with certain formulas. That's a formula you don't mess with. Just 3 little girls, and that's it. sugar, spice, and everything nice. And not only that, but they're kind of going a bad route. Like, even if you ignored all of that. So, she's basically God, and she's a teenager. The whole backstory is that she was being worked on before the other ones, and Professor made the same mistake, except he used chemical W instead of chemical X, and she was created.
What an incompetent person.
Uh-huh.
Like, considering that he's making these sentient beings with superpowers and, you know, an infallible code of justice, like, how badly... Like, that's a pretty big mess up.
Actually, they also retconned the reason he was doing this.
Okay.
He began working on the Powerpuff Girls as, like, a competition type of thing. His rival, scientist lady, made the perfect little boy. So he's like, fuck you! And he decided to make the perfect little girl.
Oh, for the original one?
No, for this one.
For the 3? Or for the new one?
For both, I guess.
So, like,
for the
one
new
wasn't
Powerpuff
good
Girls,
enough, so he...
yeah. Basically what happened was he made her too strong. And anytime she showed any emotion, she, like, blew everything up. And eventually she just kind of vanished. Like, just, like, disappeared like a puff of energy.
And so his solution to this was,
power
well,
puff?
one was too powerful, we're going to make a gang?
Well, he didn't want to use another chemical. Like I said, they at least made a joke about it. Like, he made the same mistake, like, 22 times. And like they showed a cone of like all the broken vases, the
vials,
beakers.
Someone needs to get that guy a hand mixer.
Yeah, and they made a joke like, you know, like all the different ones in the cone lid, and someone said you should probably clean that up. Yeah, so that was at least something. But most of the jokes just really fall flat. The characters don't really feel like themselves. And just the fact that one of the girls now is like twice the size of the other ones and a teenager, it's gonna mess with the dynamics. And if they don't power her down, then the other three are useless. Because she can just like blink all the enemies away, basically. They went really over the top with this and ruined a childhood classic. Then again, they also ruined it when they began
nostalgia.
twerking. Yeah.
The community really doesn't like this. I've seen so many just... so much fan art that is the old Powerpuff Girls kicking the crap out of the new ones. Yeah, it's just the more I discover about the show, the less I appreciate it, and more than that, the less and less I can give them the benefit of the doubt. You know? It's just really sad. They're retconning too much. They aren't staying true to, you know, what made the show enjoyable and popular. You know, they would have been better off just sort of like creating a new Marvel-esque superhero, you know, with the concept, but instead they're kind of, I don't know, like digging up a grave, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
they gotta stop that.
This is sort of calls to something you wanted to talk about, though, is, you know, in general, making stories for purposes and different ways to do storycraft.
Ah, yes. So, last week, I finally finished watching The Defenders. But we'll talk about that in a second infusion, because I want to bitch about the ending.
Okay.
In the meantime, though, Nick, what's that in your hand?
It's the future because pumpkin spice.
That is the future. I know because I'm already here.
We, yes, apparently you're always in the future. We magically brewed tea.
So, let's just bring the cat out of the bag. What is the most basic white girl in anime?
Sakura?
Define white girl, because in anime, everyone's kind of Japanese.
Any character that seemed like if she was American, she'd be named Debbie? Becky or Debbie or Jenny.
Candy?
270s. You mean Veronica or Brittany or Ashley?
Uh-huh.
Ashley.
That always get the pumpkin spice lattes.
I love pumpkin spice.
Okay, Ashley.
Joanne.
Joanne is pretty close
I don't
to
know.
John.
A character that everyone hates because she's just so obnoxiously plain and gets in the way.
That's a good way to, get people to try this tea.
Yeah, wow.
You know that character you hate? We have a tea named after her.
And usually that character is the shy and reserved type, so you actually want like the opposite of that. You want the loudmouth, obnoxious one, blonde.
Ooh. Loudmouth, obnoxious, blonde.
Blonde, even though she shouldn't be.
Ah.
Are you thinking, or like, are you okay?
Well, I'm never okay, but from Tsurezure Children, the blonde.
Oh.
She looks like she might enjoy pumpkin spice latte or two.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's see.
I don't know about that one. She seems like more like I'm gonna dye my hair because I'm a rebel, more than like.
I want to use Blondie from Hayate, but she's too prissy.
Who?
Hayate the Combat Butler.
No, which character?
The main female blonde. The really rich one.
One
But
who thinks
Hayate's a
that
butler
Hayate
too.
loves
Oh. I was thinking of one of the like
No, she's got quite a bit of an edge to
older
her.
characters.
Let's see here. Blonde.
Meanwhile, over here, I'm just trying to think of like what kind of characters are like pumpkin spice.
I was thinking about Harry Potter, but like with pumpkin juice.
Yeah,
but it's not spiced enough. So like Halloween Feast or something.
Yeah, like didn't they have some sort of ball around Halloween? Or am I just confusing that with the Triwizard Ball?
There was a ball on the Triwizard, but they had a Halloween Feast every year.
Honestly, I would like to use this as a base to blend. If we were to toss some rooibos tea in it, to bring out some extra sweetness, and then find a way to get a little bit more pumpkin involved, then I think we could really do a lot more interesting things with the flavor.
Yeah, the pumpkin in this isn't that strong.
Right.
It's
there,
it actually
but
just tastes like a regular spiced tea.
It's definitely there, but yeah, it's like it's at the level at which you could easily say spiced butternut squash or something. It's just like it's the squash. The pumpkin base is there, but it's really subtle. I think that we should make this a little bit more flamboyant if we're going to really call out the pumpkin spice.
We could add some asparagus.
I don't think that would help.
It would annoy Nick.
It would annoy Nick.
So we're adding asparagus.
Why does that annoy me?
Because
it doesn't? Never mind. Cancel the plan.
Cancel it. Abort. When I was talking about green tea, a lot of green teas have notes of asparagus.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think so.
Oh, come on.
Fight.
I'll prove it through a table later.
I'll prove it.
Yeah. It's one of the...
I'll prove it in the ring.
Yeah.
You're going to try two things. One of them's a liquid green tea, the other one's asparagus. Tell me which one's which.
I think I'll get that pretty easily.
You would think. But you're going to be blindfolded.
Open your mouth.
Tell me which one this is. It's not either.
Oh, take your time. Take your time.
Take your time.
Anyways, that went a different direction. What was something else that we wanted to get? Yeah. What did we want to get before we get to the second infusion? There was the thing about Japan opening up its.
Yeah, there's some more news. So Japan desperately wants to pay like nothing for anime to be produced. So a lot of anime is what do you call it? Outsourced to Korea or China, which is pretty ironic because like they loathe Korea with a passion. But
not as
anyway,
much as Korea loathes them.
Yeah. So it's interesting because they are, they take anime seriously, like as like, this is our great cultural thing, one of them. And so
this is
the one thing we did. We did it, guys. This is it.
If the building of Japan was burning and they could save Bushido or anime,
they'd go with anime.
Bushido's "Leave me behind, sister." Anyway,
if they could go with maybe like tea, swords, or anime, that'd be a tough choice.
Anime preserves all of the above.
You may have a point there.
They need more anime based on tea. There's only like 2.
I'm surprised that there's more than one. Anyway, people with visas, like student visas, can now get like easier access to work visas if they are working on anime. So it used to be like you would have to get like, you'd need like an art degree or something. You'd need to be like a really like specialized field for, you'd need to be like a director or something to get a work visa to move there and become an animator. Now it's just like, okay, animes are like a huge thing of ours. If you want to come here and just draw stuff all day, that came out bad, but like if you want to actually work in the anime industry, then you can come and do that.
Suffer like the rest of us.
Yeah, suffer like the rest of us. Be a wage slave, and in the anime industry, it really doesn't pay well. Like there's a Twitter account that is like always popping up that I followed it, and they post so often it's ridiculous. It was for dorms for anime artists, for animators, yeah. And it was like a Kickstarter or something for just like a building for them to live in, and their rent in that building, if you're an animator, it's free, 30,000 yen a month, so $300.
Ooh.
So it's something that they're like really pushing because they don't make any money as draw this in between frame, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting that now they're trying to get more foreign people in, because I'm wondering if that's like they don't want to outsource as much, or if it's kind of weird. I don't know what their angle is, but I'm sure it has something to do with paying people less or not getting Korea involved, especially considering what's going on with North Korea lately.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
I didn't either until just now.
That could be. But anyways, if you're a weeboo and you like to draw, you've been almost given a pass. It's Japan.
It's almost
it's Japan
literally
coal mining.
It's almost literally a free pass to go there and work on anime for a living.
What else do we have?
So this week I think it is Tokyo Game Show, which is their version of E3. There's a couple things for that this week, but I think we'll focus on that next week since we've put so much time into the tea this week. We'll get a lot more news, I think, as the week goes on, and we'll spend we'll do all of that next week. So ignore that. But also Doom, Wolfenstein, and Skyrim are all coming to Switch
as a single game.
Yeah. It's a mashup.
Nazis have invaded Skyrim.
And only Doomslayer can save them. Skyrim's no surprise because it's on everything, literally.
That's, 6 years old now? 7?
Wow. 6.
Yeah.
Going on 7. It was released November 11th, so it's almost 7 years old, and they're still releasing it, so... It's no surprise that it's coming to Switch, because it's literally on almost everything. But, the fact that they're releasing Doom and Wolfenstein, is surprising, because they've traditionally been kind of hesitant to release M-rated games on Nintendo consoles.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that this is an indicator that when they first announced the Switch and they're like, we're working with all of these companies, which they do every single time they release a new console, and then they get like 2 games from, all of that, and they're bad ports. I'm hoping that it's a good sign that it'll actually be a competitive console and not just Nintendo plus 5 games. Blade Runner is getting a short anime from the Cowboy Bebop director, which is, I think it's taking place in between the 2 Blade Runner movies.
Oh, really?
Blade Runner, of course, is getting a sequel next month.
Yeah.
So, that's cool.
I'm interested to see if this is going to be, if the whole is going to equal the sum of its parts. Like Blade Runner, that's a pretty big deal. Cowboy Bebop, that's a pretty big deal. That has some pretty lofty shoulders to sit on.
Yeah, and the director said one of his inspirations is Blade Runner. He said, the work that has influenced me the most in my anime profession would be, of course, Blade Runner. That's saying something, because I don't think you could really see a whole lot of influence from that in... he directed Cowboy Bebop, of course, and we were just talking about it a minute ago. Samurai Champloo.
What do we...
in one of our time
a figurative skips. Minute, a while, and a few other things that none of them were really like cyberpunkish, So it's kind of weird that that's what he says his huge inspiration, but I guess that's a good sign. It means they picked the right guy.
I hope so. I guess we'll have to see what it's like when it comes out, but. It can either be really good or it can really fall short of expectations.
Yeah. So there's a short trailer with... It's mostly like an interview with him where he's just talking about, kind of what's going on. When I watched it, there weren't any English subtitles. It was mostly not something I could really get a grasp on, but, there were some... like really rough animations, like just basically sketches, but it looks like it's something that will at least be worth watching, which is a lot more than you can say for some things like this.
Ooh, what about that Fate movie that's coming out?
Oh yeah, did you watch the trailer for that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's January, I think.
In theaters?
In theaters,
because we
in
have
Japan for sure.
We have The Silent Voice coming to theaters still.
Yeah, that's October.
So that's coming up.
I don't think we have dates for Fate yet, but it's that's in the theater date for Japan is sometime in January. We'll probably get it around.
Never.
No, it's confirmed for theaters in here. But I'd say like August, maybe. based on the release dates for some other things.
Okay. I could live with that.
Maybe earlier. I mean, it has been pretty popular, so it could be earlier.
Yeah, just from the little that was released, I saw
it was like
promise.
It was like a hype.
Oh yeah.
But no, I mean, like it was like there wasn't much content to it. It was just like a hey, it's coming out, get excited, kind of trailer. Not like it didn't explain much. Correct. It was more like what this is. It's coming. Get ready.
You like this character from this one? You like this character? Check it out.
Yeah.
Beautiful animation.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it looked like they did a lot of things quite well.
And a couple hints from the story, and the direction that it was headed. Yeah. So,
hype.
Yeah.
What else we got?
My body is ready.
My body is ready.
I think that's about it in terms of news. Yeah. You watched the Death Note live action movie.
That's not second infusion worthy, so yeah, we'll get it.
Yeah. Spoilers, it was awful. Everything.
Everyone knows.
Yeah. And so the director of that
he
deleted his Twitter because he got so many complaints and harassment about it.
Well, it wasn't just that, it was that he was also being a dick about it. Like,
really?
No man, you just don't understand true art type of stuff.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of speaks to like the fact that he deleted it and the fact that he was like, no, it's true art. When like the little bit, like I saw a couple clips from it, it wasn't. There's no way that you could call it true art.
I'm in a similar boat. I still haven't seen the whole thing, but I have two things that I think are worth saying. One, someone at work who is not an anime fan, they said that they watched it and they really enjoyed it, and that made him think about picking up the actual series. I doubt that he will, but it made him think about it.
He'll be very confused, that's for damn sure.
Oh yeah.
So that's one thing, is that in a similar way that people were talking about the Shyamalan Avatar Airbender, like a lot of people that didn't watch the show appreciated that. It seems like we're getting the same sort of reaction to this. You know?
That's so weird because it wasn't like it's just I'm talking about Avatar. It's not like it wasn't just, it's so unfaithful to the book. It was just plain a bad movie.
Yeah, so
okay, so to give a little context to this, I made a video about The Shining and Stanley Kubrick's adaptation about it, which is completely unfaithful to the book, to the point where it's almost the opposite of what happens in the book at some points. And while the movie is like it deserves its spot on top, whatever of all time lists, it completely fails as an adaptation. And I've had some conversations with people, in the comments, and like they make some good points, and then there's some other people that make good points, like both for and against, either direction of, the movie's better for this reason, or
I get what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying.
As an adaptation, the Shining is a well done movie. So there's arguments for it, but definitely Avatar. But it seems like Death Note 2 are just not very good.
Yeah, Avatar, you could not call it a good movie.
The characters were bland. The plot was kind of uncohesive at best, and kind of like, uncompelling. The visuals were
didn't have good acting, good writing, good dialogue, good all that. Maybe the music was good. I don't know, but
they retconned it for 3D.
Yeah,
blurry 3D. But yeah, in terms of writing, I've seen the side by side scene where Light meets Ryuk, and the more I've thought about it, the more they really dropped the ball on the story, because the scene in the anime where he meets Ryuk, you see this, terror come over his face for a second, and then
he
he's
immediately
just like,
composes himself.
He comes back, he's like, because that's what if you saw a death god, that was, even if you expected it, which he did, you'd be afraid. But then he's like, okay, no, I prepared myself for this. I kind of expected, if this was a real thing, which at that point had proved it was real,
right?
That you'd be around. And, it gives Ryuk the biggest hard-on ever. Interesting, And that sets up where both characters are, because he's been using this Death Note, and Light is not stupid. In the anime especially, he's a genius. And
in the show, he's pretty dumb.
In the show, he's a genius. You can...
No, not the show. In
the movie.
The movie, he's pretty dumb.
He's a jack,
right.
almost.
He's not...
No, I mean, he's
his level of intelligence is he copies other people's homework.
Yes, I've heard that. And so I'm talking about the show. In the show, the anime series, he's a genius. And, he's using this... And he's not only using it for his own means, he's also considering its origins and, everything that can go wrong. And the punchline in the show is, despite all that, he ends up this warped, sadistic, twisted human being.
Yeah.
Who ends up getting killed by the Shinigami.
Spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen it, it's been like 20... It's been out, what?
10 years.
10 years? Okay. But yeah, in the show, one, he's an idiot. That is a problem. That fundamentally goes against the narrative. And then two, it wasn't like he was shocked for a minute. He knocked shelves down, started to accidentally destroy everything. What is the reason to root for this guy? Besides that he's he's sort of made the protagonist.
By the end of it, the entire concept of him being Kira was not even his idea. He didn't really want to use the Death Note in that way. It was what was it, Misa?
Yeah, I think Misa.
Yeah, she was the one who drove him to do all that stuff.
Yeah, and
she was a cheerleader.
That is far down the road. I'm talking about just this scene, how badly they messed up the narrative.
Yeah. So I saw, oddly enough, PewDiePie's review of it, and that was one of the scenes that he focused on.
It is important.
It's the moments when Light breaks. It's that's a really important scene. He breaks at the end. He breaks for a second when he first sees Ryuk, like you said. It's and then he regains his composure. But there's no, except at the end, there's no time where he's just freaking out nonstop.
Yeah, you see it from his perspective. So another sort of take on this is, in a way, Super Saiyans. Most of the time when you go Super Saiyan, your personality completely shifts, And there's that moment where you tackle a greater power than yours. Gohan goes feral. Goku, he I am God. Vegeta did it off screen, but anyways. You meet these higher powers, and at that point they had all been building their bodies for years, most of them, and Gohan was in that time chamber specifically to do this. He'd already seen it, he'd already felt the power of it, but when he was actually put into the context of actually dealing with it one-on-one personally, he still lost it. And so in the situation where you're using the Death God powers, you're sort of conceptualizing it in a way, okay, I think I get what this is. When you first see a Death God, even if you've been in the presence of the Death Gods, because you've seen people die and you've used their powers, that's not anything you've seen before. And so there's that moment where, whoa, and you're met with that sort of visceral, primal awe,
Yeah.
And you can't prepare for that, and if you do anything but, whoa, it's not right. So the way that they tackled it in the anime was just beautiful. It was artistic. It was well thought out. They didn't just, because a lot of times they make Light, they make him cold and indifferent later on.
Yeah.
They make him unusually knowledgeable about specific things, fine. But they didn't just like, oh, hi, Ryuk. They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't. Even though they had that dialogue with Ryuk, they did. That wasn't his first thing that he said to him.
Yeah.
And they really, really made in the movie him afraid of Ryuk. Like, he tries to run out.
Too much.
He just completely turns tail. He at no point tries to tackle the problem. So from someone that liked the anime, because I do, what story were they really trying to tell there?
I don't know.
So this is a question for you, T-Guy. Like, what was the story that they're telling?
You're the T-Guy.
T-Man.
It's really hard to figure out, because, again, all Light did was he came up with the name Kira, but the entire concept was Misa's idea. And she's the one who really pushed it. You know how in the show, like, Kira was mostly using her to get to his ends? Here was, like, the opposite. And they had, like, a huge montage of, like, them killing people and then fucking and killing people and fucking.
Well, that's perverse.
It's like, oh my god, we get it. Their love just kind of made no sense, because she was trying to use him, but at the same time was like crying because how much she loved him, even though she just like wanted the Death Note for herself.
That's nice. I'm not talking about the specifics of the story. Like, what's the story they're telling? Like, in the original anime, it was you can have the best foundations, you can be super smart, you can be super moral, you can have all the best intentions of the world, but if you go about this path, you will always pretty much fail.
But that is what they would. It was mostly a love story than anything else. Like, it was really focused on their relationship.
Oh, that's bizarre.
Yeah.
Okay, so another thing in PewDiePie's review, he said that he thinks Light is gay.
Why?
Mostly because he shows no affection towards anybody except unless when he's trying to use them, and he has like this really kind of
he's saying the movie
intimate. No, in the original.
Oh, in the anime, I could see that.
Yeah, and he has this like really intimate scene with L when he's washing his feet.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Well, he's definitely not gay in the movie, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another detail. I could definitely see him being gay.
I'm just going to go with asexual, because he doesn't care.
L in the movie was kind of secondary, really, now that I think about it.
Wait, are we talking L or Kira's gay?
Kira.
Yeah, Kira.
Light.
Yeah.
L was definitely mildly asexual.
It doesn't matter, because
I think they both were.
L was like practically a secondary character in the movie. Like, he was there and he did stuff, but it really was not.
And also, they didn't show how intelligent he was at all.
No, it ended with like a freaking like gun chase scene, and they made L just like like an emotional little bitch.
So I guess there's no answer for this then. Like, is there anything in the story that compels you, to watch?
What's
sex?
The motif of the story is, I think, what you're asking.
Kind of.
What's
first and foremost, it's a love story, so you got to think it from that context. Sadly.
And so, how does the Death Note add to this love story?
The Death Note is how he gets close to Misa. So they also changed a bunch of the rules. In the past, in the original, if you touch the Death Note, you can see the Death God.
Yep.
Here, no, it's only the one who owns the Death Note can see it. And so, he's basically like, after he got his like first kill, he's like, hey Misa, want to see something cool? It's not my penis, it's this book. And it's like, it doesn't work, so he causes someone to die in like a specific way. Like, it's some guy holding his family hostage. He lets him go. He walks in the middle of the street, does a salute, and gets hit by a SWAT card. And that's how he dies. And that's what he wrote in the book. He's like, see, this thing is magical. Now make out with me.
So there's Death Note programming language.
Yeah. And then it just kind of...
to code Death Note. 30 days.
And it was Misa's idea, like, we can change the world with this thing, and Light was like, I don't know, I'm a little bit shy.
It's the oh wow. So it's the opposite of the original, where Misa's just a blind follower, and Light is like, oh hey, a Death Note. This will advance my plans.
Yeah, and everything that was happening with L was really just a way for them to focus on the conflict between their relationship. Because Misa wanted to keep going, but Light was all like, I don't know, we've kind of gone pretty far already. And...
Which is, a Western, like, that's what a Western hero would do in that point, Like, most Western heroes, they are given power beyond their usual means, and everybody, sort of stumbles along and, does something like kills an innocent person, which I assume he does at some point. And they look at this power and they're like, we shouldn't overdo it. So I'm just trying to find out what is compelling, the watcher to care about Light first of all, then care about the story, but
you're assuming that it's not a bad movie.
Yeah. It's just, it seems like they were going for an adaptation like that. Like, okay, so instead of showing this tragedy of Death Note, where the main character is this really great guy who ends up dying a really sad, lonely death, maybe what would happen if he said no, and then they did everything they could to make him do it anyways, and it's just like, it's a lesser tragedy, It's just it's almost a farce.
The real tragedy is the movie.
Yeah.
We should ask what the director thought in the Twitter. Oh, wait.
We just don't understand art.
So I think that just about wraps up this, and the second infusion is...
Have either of you seen Ghost in the Shell?
9.
Yeah, I saw one of the movies. Like the first movie.
I mean the live-action movie.
No. Oh, wait. No, I don't think I did.
It wasn't that long ago.
I might have repressed it.
Okay, so that's another movie where it was a good movie, but it had adaptation expectation syndrome. Because the movie was good, but they changed a couple things, and also they just kept saying how is the ghost inside of your shell doing, or we need to fix that shell of your, they kept saying it. It was really annoying, but the plot was generally solid, and it was fairly well written. And there was that huge thing about whitewashing and stuff like that.
I was a bit annoyed. I remember that, and I'm a little bit annoyed because I thought that Scarlett Johansson kind of fit the role.
Either way, this whitewashing crap's gotta stop. No one bitches about when Attack on Titan everybody's Japanese or Full Metal Alchemist.
Well, that's because in Japan they don't have white people.
But still, it doesn't matter. That's just the way things go. Shut up and watch the damn movie.
I agree, but here's what I found interesting. So everyone was complaining that she got the main role, and they're like, well, she only got it because she's white, and why don't they let someone talented that's Japanese have the role?
Which wouldn't have bothered me either, but
right. But they neglected to mention, nobody noticed that Beat Takeshi, who is kind of who's a good example? Jennifer Lopez,
okay.
A multimedia celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like the Japanese equivalent of that. He played one of the main roles.
Okay.
So that reeks of famous Japanese guy. Let's get him in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see what you're saying. We really should have a more sophisticated means of making sure it's all the right reasons. But when I saw that that she was going to play the main role, I'm like, oh, she looks like her. Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
that's fine. as long as the person, I could believe that person is playing that role, I'm okay with it.
And the way that they...
Like, if they had put Jennifer Lawrence, for instance, as...
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, no, she does not look at all like that character.
Yeah, and the way that they wrote it and the way it turned out, it worked out pretty good. Because it was like the opposite of what it should be. It's like... It was basically she finds out who she is, and she has no memories to begin with, which wasn't how it was in the original. And
Major, sorry,
yes, yeah, she's just like, I'm the Major, and I don't know who I am. I don't have any memories, but here I am, and over the course of the movie, she has some flashbacks and slowly unravels her identity, and that's basically the plot. As they work in scenes from the original that kind of don't exactly fit, but whatever. But the way it was written, it works out very well, because she goes from being Scarlett Johansson to okay, well, I'm gonna follow my trail of clues to this place, and okay, this seems familiar. Knock on the door. Oh, hey, you might be my mother or something. My name is Motoko Kusanagi, and I used to be Japanese. So, yeah.
Right, so I think now things just about got wrapped up.
Yep.
And so join us for the second infusion.
Motoko Kusanagi.
Welcome to the second infusion, where we're going to start off with some more tea, and then we'll get to Rick. So the tea we're starting with now is pomegranate green. It's one that we didn't do yet, and
today it's the first infusion.
Yes, today it is actually, for the first time ever, the first infusion. No, never mind. We had the first infusion while we watched the show.
Yeah, and then
this
I poured
is the second one. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway,
it was a large pot.
Pomegranate green is not an unusual pairing, and it's really, really pleasant. It's very fruity. It's sort of like a big sister to cherry green, ironically.
Well, I can't really pick up the pomegranate.
What?
Have you tried drinking it?
Yeah. I mean, I can pick up, taste, but I'm not like, ooh, I can taste the pomegranate.
Yeah, it doesn't... It's not distinguishable. It just tastes like, oh, this is fruit tea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. But it's sweet. It's pleasant. So that's our more tea. Now for Rick and Morty.
I guess we'll begin with Rick and Morty then.
What?
What?
We can open with Rick and Morty.
That's what I said.
No, that's what he said, and you didn't understand him because of his, his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, my...
So
filthy Americans.
His troubles.
This episode is definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, it really shows the dynamic between them, and I think this season so far has done a pretty good job of showing off the family dynamics.
Mm-hmm. I just love the not existential. I just saw someone break down where this is basically this may not surprise you, but an absurdist show.
What?
Yeah.
And the idea...
I think, if you didn't catch on to that by the first intergalactic cable episode, most of that was improvised.
In case you didn't, it's been said here now, too. But the idea... This is something that most of you have probably struggled with in the past. Dating? There's the two realizations. One, you are looking back at yourself right at this moment through your memories in the future. You know,
oh, God.
You have that realization. And then the other one is, what do I remember from last week? And you can maybe get, you know, like looking back through it, minutes of time. But then, you know, there's just days, literally days that you can no longer remember, although they were last week. Go 2 weeks to like last year and a week ago, you know? Most of your memories are just gone, and so they sort of play around with that concept a lot, and it's just like, what's the point of living if pretty much all my memories are just going to be inaccessible? You know? In this case, they actually put Rick as the bad guy at least a quarter of the time, you know, with the red capsules.
Yeah.
But...
Well, usually it's him dragging Morty into the situation in the first place, you know, go off on an adventure. It's mostly incompetence that is Morty's fault.
He mistook that poor man for a smudge. I killed him, only in the literal sense. But yeah, there were just so many things. They took as much liberty as they could have with this episode. My favorite scene, personally, is the interrogation scene. And now you've seen it, so you know why. Like, and it's just, a lot of these things are so telling the way they go about this, because you're on board the entire scene, like, yeah, you know, like, he did something terrible, we need information on him, torture the motherfucker. And then all of a sudden you realize, like, he was jacking him off, and he's like, I'm ready to kill him, but you're not ready to get him to orgasm? Like, we have some darkness in our psyche, man.
Yeah.
Kill him by orgasm.
That would be fine. Mm-hmm. That's sort of this gray area, but for some reason they're just like, you know, I mean, and I think to sort of break the mood for a moment, I think it has something to do with justice. You know, like, if you're jerking off somebody that did something bad, it's sort of, you know, like, you know, no, that's not just, you know, versus inflicting pain on them would be arguably more just.
I don't think that's... There's more of like a disgust factor to
but not grabbing their sack and twisting. The beauty of the
just
scene,
an alien thing on his chin.
Yeah, but the beauty of the scene is, you know, you already assume that those were his testes. You know, he put his hands on his naughty parts.
Yeah,
that wasn't the part that you bounce off at. You're like, yeah, twist those nads. And then when you find out that's basically milking him, you're just like, that's too far.
Me gusta. Yeah, that was fun. I guess people really like the interdimensional cable episode. That one was like one of my least favorites.
I'm not surprised, because you don't like the
absurdity and
absurdness. Yeah.
I like absurdness, but that was just like dumb. Well, like, you can tell it was improvised because they were like making it up as they go along in a not funny way.
You like wackiness. You don't like abstract things.
Don't go postmodernist on me.
Too late.
Bam.
Yeah, but this was a bit, let's say, it was tighter and quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Giggity.
Oh,
so it was much better for that.
They broke the walls a lot. Oh, something else that was really neat was when they took away basically the memories in general from Rick and Morty, so they were on even playing ground, excluding intelligence.
Yeah.
That was fascinating what happened after that, because Morty all of a sudden
took the initiative.
He took the initiative. He became brave. Yeah. You know? And he started to, like, crave his things. And then anyways, so that scene, the climax of it was, he finally was just like, well, I'm wary of you. But then, you know, then he sort of is looking around at these memories, which begin to make up a larger and larger percentage of his mind. That's what's preoccupying his mind, at least.
And also, he was like, well, it seems like we're a partnership. Okay, it seems like you're in charge. And then it slowly, he kind of took his position, you know, in the hierarchy. Kind of.
And then, so finally, he gets through however many he sees, and we see that sort of montage, which, you know, just suggests a lot of things. And then he is just like, I'm ending it all. And Rick, who has, you know, much higher intelligence, much higher... Somehow he has higher charisma. I don't know how that works. But he does. Yeah. And all this, he's like, you know what? I'm inspired by you. And he was, as you assume, ready to, you know, follow that course of action. You know, by virtue of Morty, who is of lower intelligence but higher experience at that point, guiding him there, and then there's the whole thing. Summer comes in. Oh, this is a scenario 4. Of course Rick had a contingency plan for it. And of course he copied their memories, like
how far back did it go though?
Yeah, that's a good question. I hope it at least got the eye patch Morty, because it would be really awkward if they met and they had no idea.
Yeah.
That's one of the great things. I don't know what they set up, and I don't know what they're just like. Maybe they did Morty's mind blowers yesterday, and it was a perfect like this episode literally has no bearing on anything else. It's just like
he was like, we've done this like a million times before. It could just be like they did that. It was all in like one day. That's just all they did that day.
Exactly. Oh, that's another good point. I didn't think about it that way.
Could have all taken place between season 1, episodes 1 and 2. So it has like no bearing on the story.
The entire thing was a flashback.
Mm-hmm. Or they might have used this pretty brilliant episode. If I shouldn't fan their flames too much, but it is. It's really good. And because they broke some of the memories that he had archived away, or because now Morty is now endowed probably with a couple of those memories, like he got at least a large percentage of his memories, or fabricated memories, because they said that Rick can do that. So, but there's no reason to believe that his mind was wiped again. So he has all those Morty mind blowers still in his brain as he's going to go on to the next arc.
No, because he lost all them. They both lost all of their memories. That's why they were going to kill themselves. Right,
but then Morty's memories became the Morty mind blowers, which were archived that his regular himself didn't like to remember. So he for a while all of his memories were Morty's mind blowers, and now a more proper percentage of his memories are Morty mind blowers. There's no reason, like she didn't wipe his mind with the gun before she gave him the memories that were copied down. So now, he'd said, maybe if I learn from my lessons, maybe they'll play off of that, or maybe they'll give him PTSD or something. Like,
or that was the backstory of Eye Patch Morty.
Oh God!
Oh. I doubt it.
That would be okay. That'd be really neat.
I still think Eye Patch Morty is somehow a Rick.
But yeah, it's going to take some time for it to sink in, but I do think that if it's not my favorite episode, it's definitely top 5.
Yeah, that was good.
Moving on to the next shindig, we also watch Tsurezure Children. Children.
Tsurezure.
And of course they ended in 12 episodes, not 13.
Yeah, this is the last episode of the season. Hopefully they're going to do a second season.
Mm-hmm. Left us on a big cliffhanger.
I liked it.
It was more of an open cliffhanger, though.
Yeah, I really like this because it does something that, like, for instance, Harry Potter has done, and it sort of left it on this open-ended, bittersweet in this show's case.
Yeah.
Note where it's just like so many things were wrapped up, and the popular guy and that one girl, finally were like, I'll have to buy a swimsuit for the event.
Yeah.
Me too. But they were on the same page.
Right.
For like the first time.
Once.
And
she smiled.
And she smiled. And she was openly admitting that she liked him.
Not exactly.
Not to him.
But not to him.
I think that was what she said before her friend had to poop. Which again, Japanese people really open with pooping. But anyway, I'm glad that
I don't think she said that though. I think she was just like, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah, actually this time she did just say that.
So all she was doing was she was just
standing outside the door
with a creepy smile,
little fingering.
She will leave it on.
Ew. So
I'm an adult.
Yeah, Gota got no character development basically, besides he's a goalie in the last 2 episodes.
A bad one too.
No, he was a good one. Just he helped them go all the way to the finals.
He was a good goalie. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick.
But on screen he wasn't good.
Maybe I'm confusing him with another guy then.
No, you never saw him save anything, I don't think.
Oh.
Because actually, matter of fact, when they were going to shoot him, it was another character that jumped in and saved the day. He only allowed one goal in. His character arc was just, or that whole arc was just done by the girlfriend. She's like, yeah, I'm the one that confessed to him. Which
Goto-kun is perfect.
Sure. The twins got back together.
Twins.
Yeah, that's what I always call them now. The ones that do the skits.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was. I see what they were going for.
Yeah.
They completely dropped the whole astronomy section.
Yeah, they're just gone.
I approve.
That one was kind of boring.
Well, like I said, they had the three.
Not exactly redundant, but like, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of room to go with.
They might dedicate half an episode to it at some point, because it was like they had the one where the whole plot happened, then they had the one where nothing happened, then they had the one where the triangle sort of happened. But then everything that was of interest happened outside the astronomy club. And
then also there was the one where it might have been part of the same, but the one where the childhood friend and the guy sort of got together. I don't know.
They didn't seem like they did, but that's what I'm saying. Like the part that was interesting.
They kissed, and then
she kissed him.
And then
he took.
It was like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah,
and then he had to go and like deliver fruit or something.
Yeah,
and it was kind of left at that.
Yeah, the delinquent.
I don't know.
She's going to college, and her parent is against that.
Not so much against it. She's got no money.
You're dumb, and we don't have money.
Her mom.
She is dumb.
Her mom kind of reminded me of her.
A little bit, yeah. So
like they kind of talked the same.
I gotta say, after these 2 episodes, same sort of thing. My chest just hurts as I watch this, but in kind of a good way. It's a cute show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And someday they're all going to die.
That's true.
So, speaking of death, My Hero Academia.
Who died?
Death?
All Might's going to kill them.
Oh, okay.
Well, that hasn't happened yet, but...
No. Alright, rewind. So, I've been saying Uraraka. Something like that. God, her name is annoying.
Most of the names in that show are...
I can't wait until one of her siblings has kids.
Her siblings?
Yeah. Because then I hope that they'll call her Anti-Gravity.
You're fired. So, she finally realizes she has feelings for the guy. That's gonna make things nice and awkward.
Mm-hmm. I like how, like, think about that scene outside of where we zoomed in on it. Like, all they saw was that the blonde guy talked to her for a second, and then she went unconscious and just, like, judo took down a professional.
Yeah.
And they're like, what did he say to you? And she's like, oh, it's not like that. That was fun. And man, she was cool. We got to see the fruits of her training.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it seems like she might be heading less of a support character and more towards like weird combination of
cutesy fighter.
Yeah, cutesy fighter, but like fighter in a like frontline fighter in a weird way.
Fighter support hybrid.
One of the things that I like about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is that a lot of the stand powers are like they're really specific. Like I can think of an example right now, but
yay!
They punch things. They slow down.
Well, all the main characters are like punch men, and like I have a sword, but like some of them are like. Okay, there's one guy that he sends his stand into someone's brain, and then he can control that person. And so if you fight that person, if you damage the user directly, it also hurts the person whose brain it's in. So once it's kind of like a flea, like he jumps onto the person, and then that person's infected. So you can't fight the person directly because he's like if you do, then the damage will be dealt to your friend, and also, so the only way to actually defeat him is to shrink your stand down and go inside of his brain and fight the stand there. So there's a lot of things where it's like it seems kind of useless at first, but when you like think about it for a long time, like, so the user has to, like, over the years kind of think about how their power can be used in weird ways, and then refine it for combat or, you know, whatever. And it seems like that would be a good thing. So, like, for her,
yes,
like, she could implement her anti-gravity into, like, really close quarters combat.
There's a lot of things she can do. I mean, if she uses that on herself, she can. If she has really strong kicks, she can kick off of a building, for instance, propel herself with the force of that kick forward, and with a well-timed release and kick, double her power right there. I mean, that's almost like a pseudo all for one for all. Yeah. You know, she has a lot of potential, and I'm really glad that she took the route of, instead of completely focusing on her quirk and that alone, developing her fighting potential and her mind and all those other things that surround it and have nothing directly to do with it. You know, it was neat. And so she shined in this episode, in that short scene that everyone, I think, expected to be far longer than it was. Like, it was just like, next time you saw the whole scene, and then the whole scene minus like 3 seconds where she just judo takes down the astronaut. Yeah.
So the other scene was the electric guy and
animal speaking lady. Oh,
no. That was the headphone girl.
It was the headphone girl and the animal guy.
Or electric guy and tape guy. No, that
was tape guy. Confusing yourself, young man.
Yeah, I am.
You're all over the place.
Yeah, you like combine like 3 things.
It was pretty fast.
There was 3 different fights. Number 1, the professor versus the 2 dumb people, Pinky and that electric guy.
How cool was that? That this I think that's a big deal. That's not a human. Mm-hmm. These quirks have extended to the animal kingdom. That's huge.
They also mentioned that he was experimented on a lot.
Still, that they can be, you know, that they can go there. That's really interesting. You know, even if it was just put there supplementary, his quirk is that he's smarter than any human. Like, what happens if you give that to a human? You know, for one, and then for two, you know, let's assume he has kids. Like, does he have the potential to give quirks to kids? His offspring? Like, and is that bestiality if he does it with another one of his, whatever he is? The ethical questions that this brings out, it's so like, there's so many layers to this, and each one is more satisfying appeal than the next. But yeah, he just owns them. Mm-hmm. Even when him trying to be like, well, I left a spot open. They also they played him off as almost sadistic. They're like,
yeah, a little bit.
They said this is a chance for his true self to come out, and he's just enjoying inflicting pain.
And he was drinking tea.
He was drinking tea. Good for him.
Because like all the people were doing experiments on him.
Yeah, it twisted his mind, and yeah, that was fun. And what was the other one?
Next up was what was her name? Seductress lady, Night something.
Oh yeah, I can't remember her
Midnight.
name. Midnight.
Yeah, her versus pervy creep guy and elbow tape guy.
His consolation prize was winning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did well.
Some character development, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't care about his character development. He's there for the lulz.
Yeah. I liked that he chose something heroic. Like, up until now, he's always been kind of just bland and boring, and in this case, he was bland and boring, but he has a righteous cause behind it, sort of.
Mm-hmm. And it was a fourth fight I forgot about.
I don't think he's been bland or boring. I think he's just been a joke what do you call it?
Joke character.
Gag character, yeah.
Keep them like that.
Yeah.
The other fight, because there's actually 4 fights, not 3, was gunslinging teacher versus guy who can like move his body parts about.
Yeah, he totally felt up the invisible girl.
Yeah.
With his elbow.
Bounce. It wasn't like that.
I'm sorry.
And that's how he got fired.
He going to jail.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened before at all.
Mm-hmm. She should be, like, maybe not used to it, but I mean, you're invisible. What do you expect? Also, you're always walking around naked.
She needs to get, like, some clothes that go along with that.
You know what I just realized? What if Aizawa Sensei used this quirk on her?
Oh, God. Most popular teacher, and you...
Like, he was, like, fighting a bunch of villains, and she just so happens to be within the...
So, that's a good question, because, you know, you could probably use smoke bombs. I think he actually has to see the sun reflecting off of them, and it seems like her quirk makes the sun pass through her for some reason.
And also, like, he can't use them on all the weird, like, animal-shaped people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that she would count as that because it's like a constant power.
Yeah, it's on activated quirks.
So I don't think you'd be able to use it on her.
Well, that's not going to stop fanfiction.
That won't.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the shipping of Froggy has been hard this week, too. I saw at least 3 or 4 different, you know... the most common one is her and the hawk guy that she was just with.
Huh.
And a lot of people seem to be jumping on that. But anyway, that's there.
Froppy jumping on.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah. And then we had... what was his name? Mike guy.
Oh, the DJ.
Yeah. Him versus Earplug Gal and I Can Talk to Animals guy.
But really don't like bugs.
So, that was a thing. He's got a bad case of too many characters-itis, so... They can only focus animal guy.
Like he's
There's just too many people to
like
care
a
about.
background character that it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
It's
kind of weird how like there's like main characters and then like characters with a plot and then just like nobody.
Yeah.
Like not even a name. Or even a power until there's a reason for it to be used.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping you don't go to Bleach route. Please don't go to Bleach route.
What's that?
So many characters that you just don't care anymore.
The thing about the talk to animals guy is that's a power that kind of interests me. I like the idea, but I don't understand it. You know, like are the animals just compelled to do whatever he says, or does he have to like convince them?
Let's hope we don't find out.
Yeah, like
I think it's kind of a mixture of both. Like it's like, oh hey, you're talking to me. That's cool. Sure, I'll do it.
Yeah, or maybe animals are just that simple-minded. I don't know, but that's the problem, in my opinion, of giving that kind of quirk to him, is that you kind of need to spell it out. Like if there's a guy that's made of water, it's self-explanatory.
Yeah,
you know, he's gonna go through cracks and things, and you know, whatever. There's so many simple quirks that they could use, and to make him look like a rock and his power be that is kind of an odd choice.
It is.
But anyways, they passed.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a lot of like forced character development for no reason. Like he had a flashback to his mother, and it's like, oh, I
got
can
accepted.
talk, but I don't, and instead I use sign language or something.
Maybe it has to do with, maybe it's not just animals. Maybe part of his quirk is he talks to animals, but the major part of his quirk is that when he makes a request, you're compelled to do it. And maybe
I was
he only
thinking
uses
about that too, but
no, because they already have somebody like that.
Yeah,
the mind control guy.
So
they'd be just kind of like redoing stuff.
They have a rock and a metal guy. They've already proven you can have quirks that do pretty much the same thing.
But they like make the joke about that. Like that's like part of the joke. Like, oh, you guys are the same.
Yeah,
that's what they keep running with.
Except he can talk to animals. So, and now he had the ethical choice of like, should I do it to humans? And he chooses no.
Maybe.
It's just it's not a very good choice.
Yeah, a lot of that was kind of forced.
Mm-hmm. But on the bright side, next week, All Might versus Bakugo and Midoriya.
I feel like Morty standing on true level.
So what do you think? Fight or run?
Fight!
But it's All Might!
Fight!
They can't fight All Might!
Bakugo will not run. That's just like a given.
What about Midoriya? Will he stand and fight? Or will he try and
You're
run?
right, only one of them has to leave for it to count.
But Bakugo needs Midoriya in this fight if he's gonna have, any chance of not leaving on a stretcher.
What?
Bakugo needs Midoriya in this fight, So if he's fighting, it'll be the type of scenario where he's losing in such a way where Midoriya is just like, I don't know if he could last until I get to the door.
Yeah. It could also be that All Might won't let them. I mean, he's not going to let them leave, but it could also be like, no, you're going to fight me because.
Well, he's going to try to get him to fight him.
Right. But it could be like, you're not going to fight me because this is your test as an apprentice, so fight me.
Let's think of it like this: the people are chosen with teacher and student based on what the students are weakest on. So why would All Might be doing stuff with Midoriya and Bakugo? What would their weaknesses be with him?
Teamwork.
Teamwork?
Obviously. I mean, those two could not get along if they had to sit in a room and breathe.
Yeah, because both of them are really good at diversifying their quirks. So diversity isn't a problem, it's focus. So, if they could focus and use a cohesive, strong strategy, they would be great because they could support it better than any other pairing, I think. Any other pairing of superhero or student at this point. So they're going to have to use some teamwork in order to, get around All Might, first of all, who is the most diverse quirk, too, He just pretty much does what he wants. You want different weather? I'll punch the sky.
Yeah, okay. You're right. I think the reason that it's All Might that they're fighting is mostly because he's the one training Midoriya. But also because those two are super strong and that isn't exactly their weakness. Everybody else has a weakness that's
exploitable,
not fight related. Those two, they need to work together in a fight.
And what's kind of nice is Bakugo, he's got to learn. Well, he's fast. He's actually really, really, really bright, and they've told you that more than they've showed you that. So this is a chance for them to show you that.
In fact, they've shown the opposite, kind of.
Yeah, he made him pretty gruff. And Midoriya, he makes up good plans, but, they showed this in his training under, oh god, he's one of my favorite characters.
Gran Torino.
The Gran Torino. And he's not flexible enough. So when things don't start to not go his way, he usually does things that puts him and other people at higher risks than they need be. Mm-hmm. So Bakugo is going to do his thing. All Might's going to have some sort of strategy probably going into this. And so Midoriya, he's got to be able to think on his feet. And sort of, I foresee this, he has to take cues from Bakugo, who's not going to want to give him cues.
Right.
And it's just it's going to really rely on how well Midoriya reacts to the situation. How much he can be in the right place at the right time and doing the right thing.
I think it's just going to be a lot of them, flanking him and trying to fight them, having two fights at once, basically.
So if I were aiding and writing this, this was something that just played out through my mind, was, all right, so let's say in the original scenario we talked about, Bakugo is like, I'm going to beat the best hero because I'm going to be the best, And Midoriya starts going for the door. how much focus do you think All Might's going to need to beat Bakugo on his own? Probably not that much.
Yeah.
And so he's going to put most of his focus on Midoriya, which is going to put Bakugo in a state of mind that is more like panicking, like, no, I'm the best! Focus on me! And, he's going to keep doing more and more dangerous things.
Yeah.
So Midoriya is going to have to see that and either have to go like, well, I'm going to play out my strategy anyways, and go for the door, or just like, oh my god, Bakugo might kill himself.
Yeah.
Or really injure himself in a permanent way. Or maybe Bakugo gets good enough to where he can injure All Might. Like, I don't see that happening, but he makes explosions.
Yeah. His quirk isn't good for capturing people.
Yeah. So, and that'll be the hardest part for them.
Is better, but still not as good as some of the others.
So
they're both brute force.
Yeah, a lot of speculation, but I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I don't know exactly how it'll go. A lot of things wouldn't surprise me, but almost everything I can think of is really satisfying. So I really hope this is not just like a flop. Like, All Might just instantly takes them both down or something.
That's not going to happen.
I hope not.
I hope not, too.
Besides that, it's going to be a good episode.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Hype.
Yeah.
Speaking of hype, Super?
Yes, I really enjoyed the last episode of Super.
Yeah, more fun Roshi action.
Mm-hmm. And Frost is a dick.
Yeah, I was confused. At first I thought that was Frieza.
Huh.
That's racist.
That's racist.
I suppose.
So seeing him come up with a couple of cunning little plans, capturing Vegeta in the little jar.
He was pissed.
Yeah, he was.
That stopped my heart for a little bit. Because there's been theories going around that the ending shows the order in which characters get eliminated based on what you see. First one being Krillin, second one being Tien, and then Vegeta was the third one on that list. And so when that happened, me and I guess a bunch of other people must be like, God damn it, no. Not like this. Not like this.
Not like this.
But luckily they managed to find a way around it.
Or it was a huge troll. Watch us next week, it's a different ending. Yeah. What was the other show? Oh, it was JoJo Part 4 had an opening that changed as new characters were introduced or something like that.
There's a few openings that do something like that. I don't know.
Well, it had a huge cast of characters, so.
Mm-hmm. I think, did anything else happen in that episode? There was Roshi being a badass.
And he's gone now.
One of the characters, or two of the characters from...
Goku's fighting the one girl
from
again.
Transform Universe was hidden.
Yes.
So they don't know... even the gods haven't sensed them yet.
Oh, yeah.
So that's probably going to be interesting.
We also saw Jiren just punching away some dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's show me your power.
Punch.
We got nothing from that. Besides, Jiren's awesome.
Yeah. Basically just hyping up the fact that he's just such a badass.
Yeah, so there's 4 universes left, and 6 and 7 are obviously going to be the final contenders, and they're almost at an even number.
Wait, which one's the Jiren universe?
11?
That's...
Or was it 10?
One of the two.
It's 10 and 11. So in the manga...
Yeah, you're right. That isn't a... So that fight is probably going to happen before the 6 or 7 fight.
Yeah, well, I think they're going the route of right now our universe has the numbers, and it's sort of a... This is a little bit of a stretch, but it's sort of a callback to the Goku Vegeta original fight. Goku represented the low class many, and he was the one that strove and overcame all odds. And then Vegeta represented the elite few. and they're doing the same thing with the language they're using.
Yeah.
You know, our universe has the many, and
we have quality, not quantity.
Exactly, and they said that exactly in this episode. You know, we have the two strongest by far. You know, it's about quality, and they're gonna make that a thing, I think.
Yes.
And I don't know if it means that they're going to be the last ones.
Thing.
But I think the chances are rather likely that they're going to be the two last ones.
So, in the manga, we got a couple of spoiler chapters of the next chapter in Super. And so there's two main changes that's happened in the past couple of chapters. Number one, after the Zamasu arc, Vegeta and Beerus have a nice little fight. Just to see, how close to the levels they are. And Vegeta masters the technique Goku did, where he, sucks in all this blue energy and is able to fight like that. So he's back being more on par with Goku again. And instead of having the Universe 7 versus Universe 9 exhibition match, they had all the gods fight. And in that, from what you can tell, it seems like Beerus is the strongest god. Because it was basically Beerus against everyone else who seemed to hate him, and he was holding his own.
Go Beerus. Represent, man.
Which, if that's the case, it makes the likelihood that Goku and the gang will be fighting the gods at some point in the future for whatever reason.
I wouldn't at all be surprised. I mean, they already have.
I hope for it.
So, we got that. I think
my voice is sort of leaving me, but the last thing that we haven't touched on yet is what you're going to say about the Marvel thing.
Yeah, the Defenders. So I watched the Defenders, and it was really good, but I'm going to bitch about this ending because it was just dumb. So, Second Infusion, so spoilers. They made it seem like Daredevil was dead, and by all accounts he should have been. Because what happened was, they dropped a skyscraper on him. And it's pretty much as it sounds. He was a few hundred feet below ground, everybody else escaped, but he was stuck there with Elektra. Pretty much decided, I'm gonna die here for whatever stupid... They didn't even give a good reason. And so, the skyscraper blew up, and the entire thing just fell down on him and Elektra, down in this hole. And somehow, he managed to survive that. I guess a couple of nuns pulled him out from, 300 feet underground, and nursed him back to health. And that's kind of how it ended. It was really dumb. They should have...
It ended with him...
waking up from, his coma, I guess. I don't know.
So not like he comes in at the last moment to save the day.
No. It was he's all bandaged up and bruised and whatnot, and he wakes up in a church with the nuns taking care of him.
Okay, that's weird. Why not just not have that happen?
If they wanted him to live, they should not have dropped a skyscraper on him.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It's just... It's suspended all disbelief at that point. Which is kind of hard to do when, you have, the blind flying
reanimated man. It reanimated disbelief.
Yeah.
You suspend your disbelief on a good show.
So that was just poor writing. But otherwise, everything was done pretty well.
But that's
nice.
not... It's not bad writing, it's like... I haven't seen it, so it's like writing where it's like we want to have it seem like he's dead, but not actually dead. So what do we do to make him like super dead? We drop a skyscraper on him.
Yeah, and it was like I'm trying to escape. He was basically making out with Elektra squared in the middle of everything.
What?
Yeah, it was.
Love trumps all. Even death.
Not well done. It seems like they
Is Elektra
defeated...
dead?
Huh?
Is Elektra dead?
We don't know. But if he survived...
Sounds like no.
Yeah. Oh, boy. So it seems like the big baddies of the entire shows are gone. So if they're going to do a season 2, I wonder who they're going to bring in. All the fights were good, except the fights against the Hand, like the leaders of the Hand, was all anticlimactic. Like every fight was like, good action.
So
fighting the bad guys. Oh, huh.
I've seen Daredevil and Jessica Jones. What are the enemies in the other shows? The Hand too.
So Jessica Jones, the Hand is not the enemy in that one,
no.
right? No.
It's Purple Man or something.
Not in Luke Cage, but it was the main enemy for Iron Fist.
Okay.
And each show had like little tidbits that, were pointing at the Hand of being big bad baddies. I also wish they put the Punisher in all that action. That would have been fun. But he's getting his
why
own...
not?
Yeah.
Weird.
That would have been good.
He doesn't work well with others, I guess.
Yeah. Could have killed somebody from the side.
That show's coming out soon, isn't it?
It's supposed to be coming out this year. I just don't know when. They have a trailer. Well, I wouldn't really call it a trailer. It'd be like a teaser. That's the word.
Teaser.
Have you guys seen Stranger Things?
No.
Nope.
We should watch that and
Talk about that sometime.
It sounds strange. You see what I did there?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That was a 0 out of 5.
That's all I hope for.
If there was a negative, I would have given it.
Oh.
Actually, you would have taken it away, but...
That's why there's no negatives. Because there's the risk of being rating puns.
I see. So I guess we'll get into storytelling and that sort of thing next time?
Oh, yeah, I want to talk about that.
About what?
This is gone. How long has this been going on so far?
We're at 45 minutes.
Yeah.
That's good for you.
We'll do it next time.
Yeah, we're at 2.5 hours total, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for sticking around, everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you next week when Julian rants about something or other.
It won't be a rant, it'll be a discussion.
Yeah, well, you hear us. We get to see you. I think we get the better deal. But you can argue if you want. Or nod your head. Yes, if you agree. Shake your head. Really, you think?
Anyway, you can send us your questions at Teacast@thedragonstreasure.com. We'll see you next week.